Okay.
Right. So, how did your parents meet?
Well, my parents, my mother was a governess and she traveled to Limerick City where she worked as a governess and she met one of my father's sisters and became friendly with her, and through being invited to the family house she met my father,
Sweet.
and that was they had a long courtship.
Um, Tell me about your home.
My childhood home. Well, it was a terrace house, meaning it was attached to the next house.
Mhm.
So it'd be like a side by side here. It was a 3 bedroom, um, kitchen, sitting room. When I was growing up, there was an outside toilet.
Oh no.
Yeah. We had to go across the yard uh, to use the bathroom. We had no bathroom until I was about a teenager. We used to bathe in a tin tub in front of the fire on a Saturday night. Yeah. And I always remember my father always had the radio on, and it was always traditional Irish music that he had on, yeah, while we were bathing. Later, as a teenager, yeah, they built on a galley kitchen and a bathroom on the house. So yeah, but there was only heat in one room in the house when I was growing up, and that was in the main living room. There was a fireplace, and
Not
that
even
was it.
the bedrooms?
No heat, and there were fireplaces in the bedrooms which were lit when we were sick, but they weren't lit basically at any other time. Yeah. So
How did your family celebrate holidays when you were a child?
holidays, particular holidays, usually a lot of the holidays, because growing up in Ireland, um, religion played a big part. So most holidays started off with going to church first, going to mass, and then celebrations would be maybe a parade through the town, um, going to a concert, or family gatherings at Christmas time. Some of my uncles and aunts would come to our house, not Christmas Day, but in the week after. We'd get together, and there was lots of singing and a lot of home entertainment. Like we had a piano, and someone always played the piano, and the adults sang. Hmm.
What is it? How did you meet Granddad?
How did I meet Granddad? I met Granddad at a dance. Um, yeah, I remember I had been sick, and this Saturday night I felt, on Saturday night, Saturday night, yeah, and I felt better, so I wanted to go. So I went to knock on my girlfriend's door to see if she could go, but she was sick, so she couldn't go. So I really wanted to go to this dance. I don't know why, and so I went on my own, because in those days you didn't have to go with someone. Like, all the girls would go and all the boys would go, and the girls would sit or stand on one side of the hall and the boys on the other, and the boys would come and ask the girls to dance. And that's how I met your granddad. He asked me to dance, and we were good dancers, and yeah.
Tell me the day Eileen was born.
The day Eileen was born, I felt very tired that day. I just felt tired. And we had been invited out to meet some people, and I decided I wouldn't go. I just kind of felt tired. And
One day, too much baby.
Hmm?
One day, too much baby.
So, yeah, your granddad went. And then after a few hours, then, I went into labor, and I contacted there were some nurses living in an apartment below us. It was just a fourplex, so it wasn't a very big place. So anyway, 2 of the nurses were there, so they rang the hospital for me, and they phoned a taxi, got me to the hospital, and left a note on the door for your grandfather.
What were your favorite school subjects?
My favorite school subjects, I guess, were geography and history.
Tell me about your favorite teacher.
My favorite teacher would be have been our English teacher, I guess. Yeah, she was a lay teacher. She was very good. She made subjects interesting. And
describe your first job.
my first job. Oh, my very first job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I worked for my aunt in a guest house, and I was when the guests would go for their breakfast, I would go into their rooms and make the beds and clean the wash hand basin and dust and just generally tidy without touching any of the guests' things. And then in the afternoon, I would take my nephew out for a few hours. He was just a baby at the time. So, yeah.
My question doesn't really apply. Where does your family come from by country? I wonder where.
I have no idea.
Obviously, Ireland. What did your parents do for work?
Parents do for work. After my mother married, she didn't work outside the home. So she reared us, as they call it then. There were 6 children. And my father in the early days worked as an insurance salesman. And then by the time I was 2.5, he got a job in the steel mills. And that's where he worked until he retired. Yeah, so it's pretty heavy duty work. Yeah.
How many siblings do you have?
Siblings, I have 5. 2 brothers and 3 sisters.
Wow. Were you like the middle or first child, or?
I was the 4th in the family, so it's kind of it's hard to be a middle in 6. So I was the 4th.
What is it? When did you move to Canada?
Moved to Canada in 1977, May 1977.
Ask Anne where she lived before that, though.
Didn't she live in Limerick?
No, ask Anne.
Where did she live? Or where did you live?
Before I came to Canada, I lived for about 2 years in South Africa, in Johannesburg, South Africa. And before that, we were, like your grandfather and I were 5 years in Australia. And that's where Eileen was born. Eileen was born in Australia. When she was 6 months old, we left Australia to go to South Africa. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the questions I have.
Good.
Do you have any? You said you have to make up some, or?
Yeah, I made up 3.
Oh,
or 4.
okay. All right.
You made up 3.
You have to thank your...
Thank you for being interviewed.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure.